So following law school, I clerked for Judge Myron Bright on the Eighth Circuit Court of Appeals. Judge Bright is a very important figure, actually, in the whole area of employment discrimination law, because he authored the decision of in the Eighth Circuit in the McDonnell Douglas versus Green case, which ultimately went up to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court adopted more or less the sort of standard of proof that was set out in McDonnell Douglas versus Green. What McDonnell Douglas versus Green did is it recognized that you can have a claim for discrimination based upon circumstantial evidence. Now, prior to that, there had been some controversy. I mean, what quantum of evidence do you need to bring a discrimination case? And some courts were requiring a fairly high standard of proof. McDonnell Douglas versus Green said, okay, let's look at one, what are the purposes of discrimination cases? Well, the purpose is to protect the person who's been discriminated against. So we have to read these statutes in light of that, in light of its protective purpose. So McDonnell Douglas versus Green set out a way of proving circumstantial evidence cases where first the person who's bringing the claim would have to satisfy a prima facie case of discrimination. Fairly straightforward. Is the person in a protected group? Is the person qualified? Did the person seek a position or lose a position? And did it go to somebody else? Most particularly, did it go to somebody else outside the protected group? Or is the position still open and is the employer still seeking people? Now, that's an important step there because really that's your prima facie case, fairly easy to prove, but it does require the plaintiff to show that two of the very common defenses in these cases don't apply. One is the person wasn't qualified at all. That's a common defense. So the prima facie case will take care of that. And second, that the position wasn't filled. So that's the prima facie case. The employer then has the burden of articulating a legitimate business reason, legitimate non-discriminatory business reason. And that's a very easy burden to prove. And then after that, the plaintiff can come forward and show pretext. So that's just not true. So let's say the employer comes forward and he says, I didn't hire this particular individual because he did not have a bachelor's degree. The plaintiff can show either he did have a bachelor's degree or the plaintiff can show the person who was hired didn't have a bachelor's degree. So that's the way the McDonnell Douglas case works. And it is basically, to this day, how courts evaluate discrimination cases involving circumstantial evidence.